Hello, boys and girls. We're ready for our next chapters of wonder. I'm so sad. You guys all know what happened the other day, and I don't. What are we on? Back from winter break? Does that sound right? Back from winter break. Okay, despite what Tushman said, there was no clean slate when I went back to school in January. In fact, did I start that? Yeah. In fact, things were totally weird from the second I got to my locker in the morning. I'm next to Amos, who's always been a pretty straight-up kid. And I was like, yo, what up? And he basically just nodded a half hello and closed his locker and left.
We read this part already.
Did? The war? Are we on the war?
Yeah.
It was Charlotte who had the inside scoop on why everyone was dissing me. Is that where we are?
Yeah.
Okay. It was Charlotte who had the inside scoop on why everyone was dissing me. I found a note inside my locker at the end of the day. Meet me in room 301 right after school. Come by yourself. Charlotte. She was already inside the room when I walked in. Sup, I said. Hey, she said. She went over to the door, looked left and then right, and then closed the door and locked it from the inside. Then she turned to face me and started biting her nails as she talked. Look, I feel bad about what's going on, and I just wanted to tell you what I know. Promise you won't tell anyone I talk to you? Promise. So Julian had this huge holiday party over winter break. I mean, huge. His sister's friend had her sweet 16 at the same place last year, and there were like 200 people there, and I mean, it is a huge place. Yeah, and well, pretty much everybody in the whole grade was there. Not everybody, I joked. Right, well, not everybody, duh. But, like, even parents were there, you know. Like, my parents were there, you know. Julian's mom is the vice president of the school board, right? So she was like, she knows, like, a lot of people. Anyway, so basically what happened is, at the party, that Julian went around telling everyone that you punched him because you have emotional problems. What? And that you have gotten expelled. You would have gotten expelled, but his parents begged the school not to expel you. What? And that none of it would have happened in the first place if Tushman hadn't forced you to be friends with Augie. He said his mom thinks that you, quote unquote, snapped under the pressure. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. No one bought into that, right? I said. She shrugged. That's not even the point. The point is he's really popular, and, you know, my mom heard that his mom is actually pushing the school to review Augie's application at Beecher. Can she do that? It's about Beecher not being an inclusion school. That's a type of school that mixes normal kids with special needs. That's just stupid. Augie doesn't have special needs. Yeah, but she's saying that if the school is changing the way they usually do things in some ways, but they're not changing anything. Yeah, they did. Didn't you notice they changed the theme of the art show? In the past, fifth graders painted self-portraits, but this year they made us do those ridiculous self-portraits as animals, remember? So, big deal. I know, I'm not saying I agree, I'm just saying that's what she's saying. I know. This is so messed up. I know. Anyway, Julian said that he thinks being friends with Augie is bringing you down, and that for sure, for your own good, you need to stop hanging out with him. And if you start losing all your old friends, it'll be a big wake-up call to you. So basically, for your own good, he's going around telling friends to not be your friend anymore, completely. Newsflash, I stopped being his friend completely first. Yeah, but he's convinced all the boys to stop being your friend too, for your own good. That's why nobody's talking to you. You're talking to me? Yeah, well, this is more of a boy thing, she explained. The girls are staying neutral, except Savannah's group, because they're all going out with Julian's group. But to everybody else, this is a boy war. I nodded. She tilted her head to one side and pouted, like she felt really sorry for me. It's okay that I told you this, she said. Yeah, of course. I don't care who talks to me, I lied. That is just dumb, she nodded. Hey, does Augie know any of this? Of course not. At least not from me. Aunt Summer? I don't think so. Look, I better go. Just so you know, my mom thinks Julian's mom is a total idiot. She said she thinks people like her are more concerned about what their kid's class picture looks like than doing the right thing. You heard about her photoshopping, right? Yeah, that was just sick. Totally, she answered, nodding. Anyway, I better go. I just wanted you to know all this stuff. Thanks, Charlotte. I'll let you know if I hear anything, she said. Before she went out, she looked right and then left to make sure no one was looking. I guess even though she's neutral, she doesn't want to be seen with me. Switching tables. The next day at lunch, stupid me, I sat down at the table with Tristan, Nino, and Pablo. I thought maybe they were safe because they weren't considered popular, but they weren't out there playing Dungeons and Dragons at recess either. They were sort of in-betweeners. And at first, I thought I scored because they were basically too nice to not acknowledge my presence when I walked over to the table. They all said hey, though I could tell they looked at each other, but then the same thing happened that happened yesterday. Our lunch table was called, they got their food, and they headed toward a new table in the cafeteria. Unfortunately, Mrs. G, who was the lunch teacher that day, saw what happened and chased after them. That's not allowed, boys, she scolded them loudly. This is not that kind of school. You get back to your table. Oh, great. Like that was going to help me. Before they could be forced to sit back down at the table, I got up with my tray and walked away really fast. I could hear Mrs. G calling my name, but I pretended not to hear and just kept walking to the other side of the cafeteria behind the lunch counter. Sit with us, Jack. It was Summer. She and August were sitting at their table, and they were both waving at me. Why I didn't sit with August the first day of school. Okay, I'm a total hypocrite. I know. The very first day of school, I remember seeing August in the cafeteria. Everybody was looking at him, talking about him. Back then, no one was used to his face or even knew that he was coming to Beecher Prep, so it was a total shocker for most people the first days of school. Most kids were even afraid to get near him. So when I saw him going into the cafeteria ahead of me, I knew he'd have no one to sit with, but I just couldn't bring myself to sit with him. I had been hanging out with him all morning long because we had so many classes together, and I guess I was just kind of wanting a little normal time to chill with other kids. So when I saw him move to a table on the other side of the lunch counter, I purposely found a table as far away from there as I could. I sat down with Isaiah and Luca, even though I'd never met them before, and we talked about baseball and a whole time, and I played basketball with them at recess. They became my lunch table from then on. I heard Summer had sat with August, which surprised me because I knew for a fact that she wasn't one of the kids that Tushman had asked to be friends with Augie, so I knew she was doing it just to be nice, and that was pretty brave of her, I thought. So now, here I was, sitting with Summer and August, and they were being totally nice to me, as always. I filled them in on what Charlotte had told me, except for the part about me having snapped under pressure for being friends with Augie, or the part about Julian's mom saying that Augie had special needs, or the part about the school board. I guess all I really told him is that Julian had a holiday party and managed to turn the grade against me. It feels so weird, I said, to have people talking about you or pretending you don't exist. Oh, who would know about that? August. August started smiling. You'd think? He said sarcastically. Welcome to my world. And the next chapter is called Sides. Sides of the boy war, I guess. All right. Bye, boys at home, girls at home.